Hi, travel birds. I'm Bird Bergeron, and I'm here today with Gustavo Batista. Gustavo is actually the general manager of the Mayan Beach Club in Isla, Mujeres, and he actually teaches at the local university a class on international tourism management. So welcome, Gustavo, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
You're very welcome, Bart. It's nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too. So Gustavo and I have actually known each other for a little over a decade. We started in hospitality, we'll call it together. We both waited tables back in college. So we honestly have a huge love for the customer and a huge love for just giving great customer service. Today, we're going to jump in and talk really about what it's like to live life in this amazing tourism destination. But we're going to give you guys specifics on what the Mexican Caribbean is doing to actually position itself as the safest destination to visit once they reopen. They have several certifications that are really going to prove to you the work they're putting in to keep you and your family safe. And we're also going to talk about exactly when it makes sense for you to start planning a vacation there again to visit their gorgeous beaches, because I know you guys can't wait to get back. So I want to frame this conversation a little bit. And Gustavo and I were talking about some of the details, but it is amazing the numbers of people that visit this location. So we're talking about the whole Mexican Caribbean. So Cozumel, Cancun, Riviera Maya, Isla Mujeres, and several other destinations. But this area is actually the #1 tourism destination for Americans outside the US. They see over 22 million visitors every single year. So we're talking a huge volume. In fact, most of you watching this have probably been there at some point in time. So let's start off a little bit with Gustavo. How did you end up in Isla Mujeres?
Well, how I end up in Isla Mujeres. I will take a half a step back and just tell you a little bit about my background. You know this, but I'm originally from Brazil. I was born and raised there, moved to the States when I was in my teens. I'm a Brazilian American. Went to the States, spent some time in the military. Then when I got out and went back to school, that's where we met at LSU. I've always kind of been a little bit of a travel bird, if you will. Never had a problem kind of, moving countries or going on for a new opportunity. Not last year anymore. 2018, I was working in Seattle for a cybersecurity firm doing program management, typical corporate tech job. Came for a family vacation to the Cancun area with my family. And there I met, I learned when I was in Cancun that my sister had a friend here. And this friend I met, she was a business person in the island. They had a project starting. Long story short, they invited me over. I went back to the States, gave back my apartment, packed my car, and drove from Seattle to Houston while I prepared to come here.
So Gustavo's the only person I've ever known to go on vacation and get a job, right? Like, who does that? What's really interesting about the area that you specifically chose is Cancun's huge, right? We're talking about 461 different hotels. Just in Isla Mujeres alone, there's 61 hotels, and this area is only 5 miles long. So what's interesting in you guys getting to talk and listen to Gustavo is you're getting the firsthand account of what the reality is there. There's a lot of not great hotels in the area, and there's a lot of amazing places to go. So tell us a little bit about Isla Mujeres and kind of how do you like living there?
Sure. I really like it living here. Obviously, it has to do with the lifestyle that one chooses. Isla Mujeres is extremely quiet. When compared to Cancun, especially the hotel zone.
What
we
is
don't
it?
have, yeah, right? We don't have big discos, Coco Bongo, and kind of like people, offering all kinds of things on the streets. Well, we have some of that. So yeah, that's a little bit different. Also, Isla Mujeres is about 15 minutes away from Cancun on a ferry, so it's quite close by, and the water, the crossing is gorgeous. Highly recommend anyone doing the cross to sit upstairs. But more importantly, there's a very different demographic that comes to Isla Mujeres when compared to your typical And we talk a lot about Cancun because Cancun is the famous name, but it's really the whole Riviera Maya, as you mentioned, from Cancun all the way down to Tulum and a few other places around here, like Bacalar is famous for the lagoon, Chetumal, etc., etc. In Isla Mujeres, we have we have a lot of families and returning visitors. We have people that have been coming here for over 30 years every year, because and the feedback that I get a lot from our clients is that they get a sense of kind of their second home here in Isla, because Isla is a very vibrant has a very vibrant local community, and you get to participate in that. You can just walk down on the pedestrian street to the end of it downtown, and you get to the plaza, and you see a ton of local families with their kids playing. You can catch a cab or rent a golf cart and drive 5 minutes, and you'll be down in the middle of the island where the locals live, and it'll be a completely different experience. Those are some things that differentiate Isla.
That's what I think so cool about this part, right? So everybody, no matter where you live in the U.S., you have an easy flight to get to Cancun. It's huge, right? Like I said, #1 tourism destination for Americans. So because it's so easy, people come down here all the time. They pick some random hotel that they found on Hotels.com on the Cancun hotel strip, and they're like, "Oh no, that's too crazy. That's not for me." There's so many different variables in what you're looking for. You know, if you're looking for this like romantic upscale couples vacation, Tulum could offer that, or Isla Mujeres can even offer it. But what's interesting about this specific area is they are so geared towards family. Like you said, just rent a golf cart and drive around the town. Like how neat is that? And it's 5 miles. Like you can do whatever you want. Let your kids take the golf cart. It's a safe area that you're not going to have the crazy spring break vibe that you get in some of these other areas in the Mexican Caribbean. Am I right on that? Did I misspeak at all?
Yeah, you're very well, and I'm sorry I forgot to mention a couple other things. You mentioned safe, and one thing about Isla Mujeres is that it is home to the permanent, um, um, what you call it, headquarters of the Fifth Fleet of the Mexican Navy. And what that means is that there's a big military base right into town. As a matter of fact, as we speak, yesterday, the president of Mexico came to Isla Mujeres to talk about the going back to life after COVID kind of situation.
Well,
So yeah.
that's a great kind of transition. So talk to us about like, when did the virus really start to hit you guys? What have you guys been doing the last couple of months? I mean, I assume tourism is basically nil right now on Isla Mujeres. Is that correct?
Yeah, in fact, it's prohibited. Hotels are not allowed to have people. The beaches are closed. Our location, we are right on North Beach, which is the famous beach here in Isla Mujeres, on top 10 TripAdvisor, most beautiful in the world, if anybody wants to check. Uh, um, yeah, and nobody's allowed on the beach. If you go, you will be asked to leave.
So even the
Things like
locals can't really enjoy the atmosphere right now.
there's no the boats that do any kind of tourism diving. We are going into whale shark season, which is one of their biggest activities here. A few years ago, they had up to like 100,000 people in one season, and it's dead this year. There will be no whale sharks, from what we hear. So everything is stopped. However, for the last week or so, we've been getting indications that they will start to loosen, going from the third level, which is the highest level. Only emergency or what you call it. Yeah, only the businesses that must be open. They're gonna go into the second phase soon.
The essential businesses, yep.
Exactly, that's the word. Thank you. So there is indication that that will be coming. We have not gotten official word yet.
On that.
So
If anybody's been following our Memory Making Mondays, I actually posted about the whale sharks. I think it was 2 weeks ago. It's an amazing thing that they do right off at Isla Mujeres, where you can snorkel with these giant whale sharks, and they're completely friendly. All they eat is plankton, and it's just a really amazing experience. But like you said, brings a lot of people to the island because It's something you really can't experience in other places anywhere close to us. So I hate to hear that that's not going to be happening, although the whale sharks may be enjoying that a little bit.
Not only the whale.
And it looks like Gustavo might have frozen on us for a second. So you guys, in case anyone is not aware, there is a hurricane right now that is hitting Mexico. I don't know if you can tell, his apartment is a bit darker. We've had some freezes because of Hurricane Cristobal. So we're trying to make sure we connect. Let's give him one more second and see if he'll come back. I do want to tell you guys about Mexico has actually released a clean and safe check certification. I keep glancing down because I wanted to make sure I had it completely right. This certification was rolled out on May 18th, and Gustavo can tell you more about the specifics that his hotel is going through. But all of Mexico is actually making this required. Gustavo, are you back with us? There he is. Perfect. Can you hear me?
I am.
Perfect. You froze for a second.
Yes, just in time to hear you talking about certification.
Yeah, and it was actually perfect timing because I did want to give them some details. This certification obviously has several different levels, right? They're going to have to clean in a variety of ways and make sure that the interaction with the tourists are kept to an actual minimum. But it's affecting everyone. It's not like it's just hotels. What we're seeing is that service operators, management offices, reception, housekeeping, laundry, maintenance, food, beverage, meetings, kids clubs, pools, but we're also talking about staff transport, rest areas. We're talking about just things that you wouldn't really think. So all of the partners and suppliers are also going to have to adhere to the certification. And it's created this amazing opportunity for these hotels and resorts to really prove that they're up and up and they're going to keep your family safe from this virus, and you're going to be in the safest hands possible. And this starts all the way from landing in the airport to taking the private transport to the hotel or to your resort, and the entire time you're at the resort while you're eating any of the food or anything like that. So that's been awesome. And I'm really grateful that Mexico has done such amazing work with that. Gustavo, how has your hotel been interacting with this clean and safe certification?
So I'll tell you about the hotel and I'll tell you about the beach club as well, okay?
Please.
Various levels of recommendations, requirements, recommendations, and suggestions or whatever. And they have specific ones to the industry that you're in, and they have general ones. So what we're doing is, because we operate a hotel and a beach club, we see no reason why we should really not do the measures at the hotel at the beach club and vice versa. So we're going a little bit above and beyond. Some things that I can mention, for example, we must obviously have all of the sanitizing gear and equipment available for guests. We must follow specific protocols to clean tables and to reset tables and to sanitize tables before they do. They cannot be done by one person only. We must keep safe distance between the servers and the clients. So what we're doing is we're adding QR codes to all our menus. So you can, with your cell phone, you don't need to touch the menu.
Oh, that's cool.
If you don't want to. We're also adding systems to call your server's attention and to put in your order without having to, exchange so much information. What else? We're installing a hand washing station in the middle of the floor of the restaurant. So on and so forth. On top of that, we've actually identified the opportunity in the market, and we're creating a service offer that is a fumigation and sanitation that we're doing not only at our hotel and our beach club, but we're offering to a lot of vacation homes and hotels here. There's a huge, we forgot to mention in the very beginning, I just briefly mentioned, there's a big Airbnb offering, Airbnb and VRBO community here in Isla, a lot of private properties. So offering those so that clients that are gonna come to Isla or come to stay at these homes or these hotels can have the opportunity to choose an extra careful whatever and fumigation specific to COVID to their rooms. And those are all protocols that are approved by EPA and FDA specifically, so that it resonates a lot with the American market.
So how cool is that? The Casa Azul Maya, his hotel, is not only adhering to all of the policies, they've received the certifications, but they're also creating their own specific proprietary fumigation system to make sure that not only their hotel's safe, but the local VRBOs and Airbnbs. So that's something you guys have heard me preach about. There's this beauty in being able to be self-contained. And this hotel is interesting because it does allow for the little kitchenettes. So you can cook your own breakfast or your own lunch and those type of things. And again, just stay more self-contained. Stay in your area and not necessarily interacting with much. The problem with Airbnb and VRBOs is that you don't know what their cleaning systems are like. With a hotel, you at least have a corporation that's worried about getting sued. They're worried about keeping people safe, their reputation. You have an Airbnb, you don't have those same protocols. So his hotel is actually allowing a lot of these Airbnbs to have that in place, which is, you guys are fantastic. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. There's a whole thing about collaborating here, and in Isla there is a very good community sense here. So it works really well. We all know each other, especially in the lodging business. There's not much of this feeling of competition, so yeah. It's nice.
Well, that's amazing. I wanna wrap up and say, my last question, I always love this because it gives us some insider insight, right? So what's the number one thing we can say, and maybe this is two-part, what's your favorite thing to do in Mexico? And what's the number one thing that tourists kind of skip when they come to Mexico that you think they really should be experiencing?
Okay. I'm going to talk about my personal tastes. Okay. And generally, what I feel the number one thing that tourists generally miss when they come to Mexico and to this specific region is that very few really do their homework and understand all of the things that are around here, all of the options for entertainment, right? Personally, my favorite thing, well, I have two. Right? But,
tell us, go for it.
They kind of go together. One is all of the Mayan old heritage and culture that exists here. So we're talking about ruins that are sometimes up to 5,000 years old. We're talking about Chichen Itza, which is towards the end of the Mayan Empire, but it's one of the seven wonders of the world. And other ruins that sometimes you can go and they're completely desert. And you can kind of walk around the ruins like if you were a Mayan 5,000 years ago. To me, that's one of the most amazing experiences that I've continued to have here. Because every time I have an opportunity, I'll go visit a new one. That's to me. The other thing I love doing here are cenotes. And for those who are not familiar with cenotes, cenotes are basically swim holes, and they can come in three types. They can be open, they can be semi-open, or they can be completely closed, cave. And you can go visit them. There are thousands of them around here, so many that haven't even been discovered yet. And you can go swim in these like turquoise blue caves by yourself. And those were sacred areas or sacred places for the Mayans where they used to hold rituals. So it all kind of comes together. And to me, it's one of the most amazing things you can do here.
That's incredible. That is absolutely awesome. For anyone that's trying to think through it, Chichen Itza is the Mayan ruin that you probably see the most often. It's the pyramid-esque shaped ruins, right? And I'll post some pictures of some of the cenotes right below in the comments. They're stunning. And it's definitely something we can set up tours and have someone take you there to where you're not just traveling off randomly in Mexico on your own, right? Make sure that you're actually escorted and you feel, again, just safe and confident in what you're doing whenever you get to really explore these cultures and these environments. I think that's absolutely
I'll send you my favorite ones. Sorry, Bert. I just got excited and I said, I'm going to send you my favorite cenotes specifically for families.
Please do. That would be amazing. That'd be awesome. All right, guys. So as we're going to wrap up, Gustavo has been kind enough to give everyone that's watching this a special offer. So anyone, and tell me if I misspeak in any way, but anyone that's going to be watching this, you have to go ahead and book through the Travel Birds. I can assist you in every way. There's no fee. But if you book at least 3 nights, you'll get your 4th night free. And that'll be good into 2021. So we will have some, we don't have to travel next week or anything like that. We just need to book. So yeah, come definitely travel with us. And then Gustavo had one more fun thing. I think we were going to go ahead and raffle off a romantic dinner on the beach. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right.
So
Go ahead. My idea was go ahead and drop a comment below, tag exactly who you think it'd be awesome to have this romantic dinner on the beach. And you know what? You've spent a lot of time with your significant others right now. So if this is a girls trip, tag your girlfriend. Who cares? Whoever you want to hang out with for a week. Go ahead, tag them below. We'll give 24 hours for everyone to make sure they get to watch this awesome presentation. And we'll pick somebody tomorrow night. Sound like a plan?
Think glass of wine, toes in the sand, sunset.
Yes, I could use that right now. I don't know about you guys, but I am dying to get to the beach. All right.
Since it's a tropical storm day, I won't be able to see that today, but as soon as I do, I'll send pictures.
Yeah, tell the storms to go away by the time we get there. Okay. Well, thank you again so much. This has been absolutely awesome. I genuinely appreciate you taking the time. Gustavo, you're awesome. Keep up the good work, and you guys keep staying safe.
Ciao.
Ciao.